Welcome back. It's 14 minutes after 9. In our Health Watch this morning, superstar actress Angelina Jolie shocked many yesterday when she revealed that she had undergone a double mastectomy. The actress said she made the decision after doctors discovered that she had a gene that put her at an 87% risk of developing cancer. While her choice may have surprised Hollywood, it is becoming more of a reality for women across the country who have a family history of cancer. Joining us to talk more about preventative cancer surgery is Jennifer Davis from FORCE, which stands for Facing Our Risk of Cancer Empowered. She also underwent a double mastectomy. And Michelle Batt, who is also with FORCE and has had preventative surgeries of her own. Thank you both for coming in, being willing to talk about this. Jennifer, let me start with you.
Sure.
And first, tell us about FORCE, what that is all about.
So FORCE is about bringing awareness, education, advocacy, and research to those affected by the BRCA mutations. Because it's such a small percentage of the overall population that gets diagnosed with breast cancer, we really want to narrow in and get the word out so that way we can educate more people about being proactive about making health choices, especially when you face these kind of odds. You want to be able to stay on top of those kinds of things.
Tell me about your story. You were very young. Well, you're still very young,
Yeah.
but when this all started,
Right.
tell us a little bit about how you came to decide to have the test and what happened after that.
Sure. Well, to make a long story short, my grandmother, from a very young age, I was 7 when she was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She died from her second diagnosis or reoccurrence by the time I was 12. So I kind of had this inkling that something was going on with the family because her sister had also had breast and ovarian cancer. So fast forward to about when I was 18, my mom had just recently gotten diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was going through the chemo treatment process. In my situation, I actually ended up doing a self-breast exam at home, and I came across a lump of my own. And of course, I got freaked out a little bit. So I had gone to my mom and said, or she provided sort of the information that there's this test out here and that, you know, if it is, this is what it means for our odds of developing breast and or ovarian cancer. So I kind of did it because it was sort of confirming a suspicion I had for a very long time. And it really did benefit me because when I found that lump, I was able to make that proactive decision to let's remove it. We don't want to leave anything that could possibly affect me of developing cancer.
I'm not being facetious when I ask this.
Sure.
I know obviously a question like that, a decision like that is hard to make. But when you have that evidence, you have the results of that test, does it automatically make it much easier to make the decision to have the preventative surgery?
I think it definitely depends person to person, how you can handle and kind of sort of cope with that information. But for me, that sort of just propelled my interest in finding out more about what my options now are, knowing that I'm at high risk and what I could do. So that's why eventually, by the time I was 23, I decided, you know what, my breasts don't make me. I'd rather feel better knowing that I've lowered my risks to 1 to 3% by just having the double mastectomy preventatively.
Michelle, can you share your story with us as well? And you've had a number of surgeries.
I've had a few.
Right.
So my journey began in 2005 when my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was 45 years old, and she had some rare situations with her cancer. So she had bilateral cancer. She had a different cancer in each breast. Again, her age, she was relatively young for being diagnosed, and it was found to be a very aggressive form of breast cancer. We also have an Ashkenazi Jewish background, and some people in that ethnicity have a higher likelihood of having this mutation. So she went forward with the testing, and after she found out that she was positive, then I decided to be tested as well. At the same time as she was ill, my father was also diagnosed with a different cancer. So we had a lot of cancer going on in our family. And in answer to your question, Tony, about how does it help to make the decision, or how do you make that decision? For me, it was looking at the paperwork that had my name on it next to this mutation, and seeing that I had up to an 85% chance, 87% chance of getting breast cancer myself, and up to 40 or 50% or even higher for ovarian cancer. And seeing that my sister was already with advanced stage disease, it had spread very rapidly to her lungs. My husband and I looked at the numbers and said, you know, this is not if I'm going to get breast cancer. It sounds a little bit more like when.
Sure.
So it was not an easy decision by any means, but in my situation, because there was so much illness around me, I think that made it a little bit easier to do. And my sister told me she would kill me if I didn't have it done anyway. So you know, she had a sense of humor.
Right, right. Jen, let me go to you.
Sure.
What do you tell, you know, people are talking about this a lot right now, which
Right.
is the great thing about
Yes.
Angelina coming forward like this. What would you say to women who may be struggling with a decision? And again, it's a very personal decision.
Yes.
You have to make your mind up for yourself.
Correct.
What would you say to women who are struggling with this? Some women may struggle with, I don't know if I want to have the test.
Right.
Sometimes people say, I don't know if I want to know.
Right.
Right. I would just say don't be afraid. Obviously, you know, go at your own pace. If that's something you don't want to go forward with testing, yeah, it's understandable. Just do the other things. Do high surveillance. That's the alternative you can take. And just don't be afraid. Communicate with your family about your health history, because that's extremely beneficial to communicate to your doctors if there's a history within your family, because then they can choose also with you to plan out your sort of health care for X amount of time. So I think it's, for me personally, I think it's better to be educated and aware, but obviously that's my personal opinion.
I have to apologize because we're out of time, but I think it's important to get your stories out there, and I thank you both for coming in to talk about that. Once again, FORCE stands for Facing Our Risk of Cancer Empowered. If people want more information about that, where do they go?
It's www.facingourrisk.org.
Facingourrisk.org.
Wonderful resource with
Very
a lot
good.
of research.
Ladies, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
So much for having us.
21 minutes after 9, we'll be right back.